Today we're going to make some homemade biscuits. We're going to start off with 2 teaspoons of cubed butter, 1 cup of milk, and both of these set them aside in the freezer while you get the rest of the stuff together. Then we have 2 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of shortening, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and an oven that is preheating at 450 degrees. So we're going to start off with our dry ingredients. 2 cups of flour, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Make sure this is mixed in really thoroughly. And then we're going to add the 2 tablespoons of shortening and the chilled butter. Now, when we're doing this butter, we want to crumble it in here, but we don't want it to melt. So that's the reason why we put it in the freezer. So I'm basically crumbling it up into small pieces. The thing that's important about making biscuits is you do not want to work it too much. Work it the least amount as possible. Alright, so I've got the butter broken up into little pieces. 1 or 2 more. Now I'm going to add the milk, and I'm just going to get it to where it's completely mixed up before I set it down onto the pad right here. You can use a spoon at this point if you want, but it isn't going to matter because in just a moment you're going to have to use your hands. Alright, I've got it completely combined. As you can see, I didn't mix it much. Now I'm going to take this extra flour and put just a little of it down here so that when I knead it in real good that it doesn't stick to the pad. This is where it gets important if you don't want tough biscuits. You do not want to knead it too much. So we're going to flatten it out a couple times, fold it in half, fold it in half again, flatten it out again. We're going to do this about 6 times. Alright, now I'm going to take a cookie cutter. I'm going to put just a little flour around the edge just to keep it from sticking. I'm going to take these and I put a little vegetable oil in the bottom of my pan. And I'm going to coat both the top and the bottom. And put this back together 1 or 2 more times at the most. And now we're going to cook it in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes till the tops are golden brown. And here we go, homemade biscuits. All right, now we're fixing to make some white gravy. I got about 2 cups of milk here and approximately 2 heaping tablespoons of flour. And I like to sift my flour in there so that it's more evenly distributed and it doesn't come out as lumps. And kind of stir it in as you go. I've already started preheating the milk. Alright, I've sifted in all of the flour. Now I'm just going to stir it in, keep mixing it. You might have a few lumps. If you do, just kind of smash them out like I'm doing right here. Alright, it's been cooking for about 3 or 4 minutes and it's starting to thicken up now. If it gets too thick, you can always add just a little more milk to it. And if it's too thin, just cook it down just a little longer and it will thicken up. We're going to add salt and pepper to it, and we're going to probably add about a teaspoon of each to it to start with. If you want to add flavor to this type of gravy, if you're cooking any sausage or bacon, you can add about 2 teaspoons of the grease, and it will add a little extra flavor to it. But remember, when you're cooking with flour to make gravy, you do have to get it to about 200 degrees before it starts releasing its flavor. At this point, it's thickened up pretty good. I'm going to give it a little taste and see if it needs a little more salt or pepper.